All right, here's the argument, or the passage rather. Birds and mammals can be infected with West Nile virus only through mosquito bites. That's interesting. It's the only way you can get it, Ben.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong
if
claim.
If you're a bird or a mammal, I guess
Yep.
if you're a frog, you could maybe get it another way.
Yep.
Or an insect, you could certainly get it another way. Although you do get it through mosquito bites, ironically, if you're a mosquito.
Yeah.
Okay. Mosquitoes in turn, oh no, here, they're going to tell us. Oh yeah, they do. Mosquitoes in turn become infected with the virus when they bite certain infected birds or mammals. No shit. Not telling me anything I didn't know there.
Okay.
The virus was originally detected in northern Africa and spread to North America in the 1990s. Fun facts about West Nile virus.
Okay.
Humans sometimes catch West Nile virus, but the virus never becomes abundant enough in human blood to infect a mosquito. You know, one thing about that, if I had read all that, I would already know that this is a supported question before I even read the question stem.
Yep. They're all facts. None of these claims are being used to support another claim.
There's no logic there. They're not making an
Yep.
argument. They're not trying to prove anything. They're just giving you fun facts about West Nile virus.
Yep.
So we would know that it's a must be true or a supported question before we even ever read that question stem. What are you thinking here before you start reading the answer choices?
Well, when I read that very last claim, it says humans sometimes catch West Nile virus, which isn't really surprising, but more the second part. But the virus never becomes abundant enough in human blood to infect a mosquito. I'm like, okay, so we do know that mosquitoes in turn become infected with the virus when they bite certain infected birds or mammals, but it must not be the case that they become infected with the virus from humans. So that's one thing. I'm just putting those facts together. I mean, I'm not really putting them together. I'm more just like trying to clarify what's exactly being said here.
Right. Which to me would indicate, I mean, I would be going the next step, right? Like,
sure.
Well, it came from Northern Africa to North America in the 1990s. Humans can catch it, but humans can't give it back to mosquitoes.
So it must have come over with mosquitoes or with birds or other mammals, like
anything other than humans.
Here. Just not humans, right?
Right. Like, well, a human could have been infected with it in Africa and come
100%.
to North America and died of West Nile virus.
But it wouldn't be in that person's blood enough to infect a mosquito here and give it West Nile virus.
So that couldn't have been patient zero.
Yep.
You know, this is just common sense. I mean, maybe I play too much pandemic, or maybe I watch too many apocalypse virus movies or whatever. But I mean, I naturally start thinking about, well, then how did it infect North America? If a human came over here with West Nile, they didn't spread it.
Yeah.
But it did spread here.
Yeah.
Which means an infected frog or bat or bird or maybe a cloud of mosquitoes that were already infected with West Nile virus flew over here.
It's possible, right? It's not ruled out by these facts.
No, but the facts do rule out humans bringing it to North America.
Yep. They could have had it, like you said, and come here, but they wouldn't have spread the virus here.
Right.
By the way, one thing that we're doing right now is we're taking the facts that they gave us and we're focusing on what we can and can't properly infer from those facts. What I want to talk about here is that this is the skill that a lot of people fail to take time to develop. They just read the facts and then they go into the passage, and they need to take the time to figure out, what must be true given what was said from those facts? How do the facts relate to each other? What can you and what can you not necessarily infer from them? But the other skill I want to talk about, which kind of surprises me, but and we've talked about this before, but it still just stuns me that some people, they not only struggle with the ability to put the facts together that they've already read, but they struggle with the individual facts themselves in the sense that they read too quickly, and then I ask them what was said, and we can't even get into like what can you infer by putting these facts together, because when they regurgitate the facts that they thought they read, it's like 70% correct, and then they like slip in something that's inaccurate, or they just drop something from the sentence which actually radically changes
Yep.
the meaning. And I'm like, just read that sentence
I
again.
think
Did you see what it actually says?
I think there are
Anyways,
two critical facts here that the people that they would be most likely to forget. I
yeah,
see people forgetting the thing that was said first, and I see people forgetting the thing that was said last. The thing that was said first here, if you forget that birds and mammals can only get West Nile from a mosquito,
yeah.
you completely miss the point. You're not going to understand why the right answer is right here if you forget that the only way it spreads is from a mosquito bite,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you forget that fact, then you would think, oh, so if a human came over here, then the human could pass it to other humans. And it's like,
Well,
no,
mhm,
the mosquito had to be one of the vectors, had to
yeah.
be the vector, the only
Mm-hmm.
vector.
Mm-hmm.
They also could easily forget the virus never becomes abundant enough in human blood to infect a mosquito.
So
They
you're
just like
you're
space
using the
out at the end.
word. I agree. You're using the word forget. I would say it never registered
Right. Okay.
fully.
Yeah. That is what I mean. I don't
Yeah.
mean, no, I mean, they didn't, it never got in there in the first place. I mean, it
Yeah.
bounced off of them. They read it. It was words, words, words. They were so focused on the next sentence that they didn't really digest the first sentence. I think the one superpower on logical reasoning is to just stop after every premise
Yes.
and make sure that it's like going in. You have to personalize that, right? My
Yeah.
thing about frogs, like I read the first thing and I was like, oh, so frogs maybe could get it some other way.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
98% of test takers, maybe 99, aren't thinking that.
No,
They're not they didn't even get what the first sentence is saying. I stop people, I say, what did that say? And they're like, oh yeah, like birds and animals can get West Nile from mosquitoes. Did you just say they can get it from mosquitoes?
yeah.
No,
If you don't
it
say the
said a
word only
lot
there,
more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they're like,
People,
yeah, I get it. They're almost offended sometimes. It's
right.
like, yeah, I understand what it said.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I agree. All these words are simple words, but the sentence combining them together has a
Right.
very specific meaning, and you lost that meaning, or
Yeah,
you
it's
never
lawyer shit.
got it.
You don't
Yeah,
understand how this is lawyer shit. The LSAT logical reasoning will make you a better lawyer for sure.
yeah, yeah.
There's no question. These shitty law schools, they should start teaching LSAT logical reasoning.
They
Well,
should,
their
because
students
I
would
mean,
get
their
smarter
students came in with
with poor logical reasoning.
150. Yeah,
Right.
it's like, okay,
That's why they're
let's
sucking
actually
on the
bump
bar
that up to
exam.
160. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why they're sucking in law school and sucking on the bar exams because they aren't good enough at logical reasoning in the first place.
yeah,
Um, the student's mindset, the novice mindset is it's a time test. I have to hurry.
hmm
I don't have time to sit there and digest that first sentence. I got to read the second sentence and the third sentence, the fourth sentence because I have to get to the question because I have to get to the answer choices. And it's
I
like,
would
okay,
argue. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I would
no.
argue they don't even think about it as sentences. They think about it as a passage. They just
Oh
like
yeah, right.
read. It's
Stream
like
of consciousness.
law. Yeah,
Yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay, which one must be true? Okay, and then they were into the answer choices, and they have no idea. They have no idea. But you and I are everybody who's an expert or even high intermediate. You're going to get to go faster because you went slower up front. You go slower on the passage, and then you get to go quickly through the answer choices. What we did, Ben, is we made some inferences from the facts. We read the facts
yeah,
correctly. We read them carefully. We noticed that the facts combined together. We know West Nile got to North America somehow. We know that humans can't transfer it back to mosquitoes. We know that mosquitoes are the only way birds and mammals can get it. And so from all that, we can properly infer that humans couldn't have been the ones that first brought it and spread it in North America. Now we're asked to find an answer that is strongly supported. Which one, if true, the statements above, if true, most strongly support which one of the following? That's another reason, Ben, by the way, why reading the question stem first is dumb, because you always have to read it again after you read the passage. So you're just doing a longer version of the test. Read it once, read the passage first, then read the question stem once, then answer the damn question. All right. So we're looking for one, this is top down. We're looking for one that's supported by these facts. And we've already made a pretty damn good prediction because we put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what you think of A. West Nile virus will never become a common disease among humans.
Nope. Way too strong. Humans can get it.
Yeah, they can't spread it human to human, and they can't spread it human to mosquito to human. But we have all sorts of filthy animals around us, our pets and rodents that follow us around. And as far as we know, West Nile virus is already a common disease among humans.
Yep.
Okay. B says, we're looking for one that's proven by these facts, ideally.
Yeah.
B, West Nile virus is most common in those parts of North America with the highest density of mosquitoes.
Oh, no. This answer choice is wrong by saying it's the most common. We know that mosquitoes can transmit this disease, but we don't know how many of those mosquitoes in the highest density areas have West Nile, and how many of, even if they were all had West Nile, how many of them are biting other animals? And it's just,
Some people are
lots
going
of
to pick that
problems.
answer because it's like stands to reason sort of a thing,
It's
right? Like
not unreasonable, in the real world, and given the facts that were stated,
mosquitoes are a
it's
necessary vector for West Nile. So in the area where there's the highest density of mosquitoes, that would stand to reason that you're going to have a West Nile problem. But it's very specific, saying that it's most common in those parts of North America that have the highest density of mosquitoes. Like, really, it's the most prevalent there? What about the place that has the second highest density of mosquitoes? Or not only that,
Or you
but
end up with a high density of mosquitoes who somehow avoided the West Nile virus, right? They just
oh,
never came in contact, and
what
then
if when the density of mosquitoes is too high, all the mammals die and West Nile can't be spread anymore?
yeah,
You know, it could be if the density of mosquitoes is too high, then malaria could be running rampant, and it could be that malaria prevents West Nile.
who knows?
There's a million reasons. In the areas that have the highest density of mosquitoes, maybe people use DEET all the time, and DEET kills West Nile.
Yep.
I mean, literally, you could go on all day with different reasons why B doesn't have to be true. I'm looking for something that has to be true. C, some people who become infected with West Nile virus never show symptoms of illness.
Okay. We have no idea about the symptoms.
The facts are about transmission, not about symptoms at all. D, West Nile virus infects more people in Northern Africa than it does in North America.
Same problem that we were talking about with B. I've no idea.
Again, it's like it might
prevalent.
stand to reason.
It started there.
Started there, so maybe there's more people that have it there. But didn't coffee drinking originate somewhere other than the United States and then get passed to the United States?
And
we drink more
had
coffee than anybody.
Starbucks and yeah,
or something like that. I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
yeah.
D does not have to be true. E, West Nile virus was not carried to North America via an infected person.
This is actually one of the things we talked about.
It's the thing we talked about. It's the thing that can be predicted based on these facts.
Yeah.
If you're tuned in to these facts, you would have said something like, oh, so patient 0 in North America can't be a human.
Yep. Even if you didn't predict that, though, even if you didn't focus on the transmission from Africa to North America for some reason, if you understood these facts clearly when you read this, you'd be like, okay, that has to be true.
Though, if you weren't thinking about transmission, then I don't think you were thinking about the individual premises very carefully. The first premise is about transmission. The second premise is about transmission. The fourth premise is about transmission.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I mean, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I don't disagree. I think if you, yeah, sometimes in these cases, people don't always predict exactly what the LSAT is thinking, and maybe they need to dig deeper. But as long as they understood the sentences really well, I'd be confident that they could get rid of these answers and find the correct
sure,
one. It'd be
there's
better.
right.
It'd be
I
better if they
I
had
feel you
that.
on that. There's multiple ways to get there,
Yeah.
but I want people to tune in. I want that if you have done any kind of LSAT practice at all, you've realized that they are laying out the breadcrumbs for you and inviting you to make the connections that are there to be made.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game. Like, do you want to do the test the easy way or do you want to do the test the hard way? The easy way here is to pick up on the fact that they told you that the birds and mammals can only get it transmitted to them one way, and then the thing that can transmit it to them can only get it back in this other way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last premise says, well, but mosquitoes can't get it back from humans though.
Yeah.
And like, of course, the purpose of this question is to complete that circle and realize that if West Nile came to North America, it did not come here via humans.